Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to yet another episode of the Green Suiters Podcast, a podcast about woodworking. And today,
Is it?
it is. It is. Today we're going to be talking about projects that we think every woodworker should build at some point, especially in the beginning. I feel like that's the angle that I'm going for. You should make these in the beginning. But before we get into it, Jason, I would like you to tell our dear listeners about the last giveaway of March of 2022.
Yeah. So, Bessie, this is your last chance to enter for the Bessie giveaway. This month, we're doing a set of Revo Junior clamps. So,
now those are like the mini K body, right? They're like little baby K bodies.
Yes.
What if I get a junior clamp Revo? What am I really getting? Like what?
You're getting parallel clamps, but everything is on a smaller scale.
Okay.
You still got massive clamping pressure with them, though.
That's what she said.
Ooh, you behave.
Sorry, that didn't make any sense at all. Why would she say anything about clamping pressure?
Do you know what's like the maximum size is that it goes out to?
Well, Ben.
Well, now, Ben, this is a family channel.
I'm so glad you asked.
This is an explicit podcast. We're not.
And it's not the size of the clamp; it's how you use it.
So, hence clamping pressure.
But what I want to know is this going to clamp a cutting board?
Yes.
Yes.
Is this going to clamp a cabinet?
Yes.
Is this going to clamp
your nipples? Yes.
Are these nipple clamps?
Are you sure I can't win this?
Yeah.
That's what I'm really getting down to.
Anyways, everybody, since I was so rudely interrupted by these ridiculous questions from Ben.
Actually, I think I'm a really polite person, Jason.
Yeah.
Okay.
So US, Canada, minus Hawaii and Alaska, as always. And to enter, all you have to do is go to greensuiterspodcast.com and fill out the giveaway form. Again, this is your last chance for the month of March to enter. So if you want a chance to win a set of Revo Juniors, you better go to greensuiterspodcast.com.
You're like looking at me like, did I say that right?
Did I do that?
That's right. Everybody go to
/podcast Ben's Woodworking.
Go to greensuiterspodcast.com, go to the giveaway tab, and you can fill it out for your chance to win.
I'm sorry. Is there an echo in this podcast? Because
Is there an echo in this podcast? I'm pretty sure I just said that.
Yeah, I hate you.
I hate you.
Well, we're not just jumping into the topic, are we? We're going to talk about what we've been doing.
Yes. We can briefly discuss what we've been up to in
I'm so sorry. Briefly, got a hot
in our
date.
wood shops. Would you like to go first, Jason?
I do not want to go first.
Oh,
I have to go to the bathroom. That's why.
Oh, I can go.
But, excuse me. One of you guys go, and I'll pretend like I care.
So I'm starting to pre-cut all the stools that I sell on Etsy. And I for the last couple months, it's been like a real rush to make these things when I get an order in. And so I wanted to have a good bit of a stock built up so that way when an order comes in, I'm not rushed to finish it. Because I feel like when I made these stools that I went too quick through making them, and I feel like the quality isn't what it should have been. And so I took my time yesterday with a stool that I'm shipping out tomorrow. And 100 times better than anything that I've shipped in the last couple of months. And so it just kind of reaffirmed to me or made me remember that, you got to put the craft back in being a craftsman. You got to.
Oh, for sure.
I think that I was just so focused on like, all right, I got to hurry up and get this thing made and shipped out, making and shipping it out that I didn't just kind of slow down and like actually be a craftsman about it. And so, I think
you didn't actually care is what you're saying.
No, I cared. It's just, I felt so rushed because of everything that I'm trying to do it all at once that I wasn't like really focusing on making it the best that I knew that I could have. So
Right.
last week I just kind of took my time with processing all the materials and making sure that my cuts were really good. And I have a jig that I use that helps me make the stools because it's cut in it at an odd angle. And
Yeah, but
really just
I'm gonna comment on that, Ben.
What's that?
What you're saying, it's not as good as you weren't doing anything half-assed on those other stools. It's just that
No.
you bettered what you were doing, correct?
He has
Yeah,
higher
no, yeah.
expectations of himself.
Yeah, it's
like because I would see just like the smallest detail, and I know that the customers don't even see that stuff, but to
No.
me, when I look at it, I'm like, crap, man. Like Ken said something when we recorded last week, where he was like, in their cabinet shop, he said if someone came in right now and took a picture of this and put it on Instagram, how would you feel about it?
Mhm.
And so that made me think about craftsmanship. I was like, well, crap, man. If somebody did come in and took a picture, even though again nobody would even notice it, but I would.
Mhm.
I'm like, okay, I need to refine my processes and put out and give people that are paying for this the product that I want them to have, as opposed to just not doing it as well as I probably could have. So I made a stool last night. It came out absolutely perfect. I'm happy with the quality that it is now, and I'm ready to ship out more.
So you had a
stools
good
as they come in.
you had a good stool last night?
It was a really good stool. It was really hard to get it out.
Yep.
I had to shove a stick up in there and kind of wiggle it around.
Oh, yeah, now you're talking.
What?
Jason's like, this is really erotic.
Why am I on this podcast?
He said stool.
But so I did that as far as woodworking goes, and then just getting slammed with schoolwork. So for those of you that are listening, by the time you're listening to this, I'm not dead. I'm stopping social media until I'm finished with school. My grades started to slip a little bit. I was like, okay, I got to stop. I got to focus 100% on school. So that's what I'm doing. Sedge, what have you been doing since the last time we spoke?
Oh my goodness. I've been so damn busy at work. It's ridiculous. But when we talk about shop, I'm looking around and I go, okay, I haven't been out here in 2 weeks, and I'm going to be out here all weekend, and I'm really looking forward to it. But in the midst of all that, a good friend of mine bought a CNC, and he's learning how to do everything with that CNC. And, I often contemplated maybe I should get one, get up to speed on it. And I always contemplate, I got to get used to, getting back into drawing and stuff like that. And so I asked him, and Jason, you know who it is? It's Justin. And I said, hey, so that new CNC, you can cut templates? And he goes, yeah. So he brought me over to his desk at work. And he was on break, and he said, check this out. And I went, oh, snap. So what if I have like a custom piece I want you to make a template for? He goes, oh, no problem. We can handle that. I go, okay. And he goes, Sedge, am I cutting your templates now? I go, you will be. And I go, how are you at drawing? And he goes, excellent on SketchUp. I went, so you'll be able to do plans? He goes, oh, I'll do all kinds of plans if you need me to.
Who is this?
So I get somebody to do plans and templates.
He already said his name is Justin. Jason, obviously you weren't listening.
You met him.
Justin,
it was at my Christmas party. He was supposed to come over this weekend.
Oh,
yeah.
The bare knuckle builds.
Yeah.
Jason, are you high right now?
No, I'm like Justin.
Am I remembering his name? His name's Justin, right? Yeah.
No,
Jordan.
Jordan. Yeah, that's why I was like, Justin, who are you talking about?
No. It's Jordan. Oh, man, he's going to kill me if he listens to this.
No.
Yeah, Jordan. I don't make too many people with J's. Jason,
there's only one that matters.
Jordan, Jason, Justin. No. Jordan. Yeah, he said, hey, Sedge, we'll work it out. We'll figure it out this summer. So he's getting up to speed pretty quick on the CNC.
Wait, so he can do plans?
Oh, yeah. He's got, I just got to up.
I've been looking for somebody.
So I'm telling you, man, I'm going to utilize this kid because he's a rock star. Yeah. Hey, Jordan, if you listen to this, I'm so sorry I was calling you Justin, brother. You're the man. So that's what I've been up to. Right when you're like scratching your head, how am I going to accomplish this? And somebody opens the door for you. So,
well, it's funny when you had originally when you had said Justin, I'm like, Justin from Rustic Grains, like,
yeah, and
he's the guy you're going to have do your templates.
No. And then all of a sudden, as I'm saying Justin, I'm going, and Jason's looking at me kind of weird, and I'm going,
yeah, I was like, Jason,
am I saying his name? And I was like, oh, I hope you, oh God.
Yeah, no. As soon as you said he was coming over this weekend, yeah,
I thought Jason was about to fall asleep. I was like, what is he doing?
Yeah, he's trying to figure out because Sedge is like not remembering people's names right now.
Well, that's whatever. Everybody, this is what happens when you get old.
Hey, now I was waiting for you to drop that already. Whatever. Yeah. Whatever. Oh, how far are we into this podcast, Ben? And we're already minutes. Dropping the. Yeah, we're already
11 minutes. I'm pretty sure it's a record.
Man.
Well, 11 minutes for him is like an eternity.
Oh God.
Sorry.
What have you been up to, Jason?
Oh man, where do I begin?
Snapping on Sedge is what he's been doing.
Yeah. Cold snap.
It was.
I'm pretty much done with the desk. All I have left to do is put the Rubio on the white oak tops and the X's. I actually ended up finding out I have a little bit more time to work with than I originally thought. And we've been trying to finish up Leo's bathroom, just so the house is ready for the showings. That's kind of like the last piece of the puzzle, for the house. Installed the toilet today, actually. So that's good to go. Trim, all that stuff. We'll finish that up this weekend. I'll finish up the desk this weekend, and then I'm not going to be taking that over to my Sergeant Major's place until after I get back from JLC. And here's the cool thing is that, so he has like a big, like 2,500, it's like one of the work vans that you see like contractors and stuff use, like Ronnie Fulton has, but it's not a Mercedes. Crestliner.
No, it's a Freightliner.
Yeah, it's like a big van. I can stand up.
It's a Sprint. It's a Sprinter.
Yeah. So he's going to let me use it to do some of the moving stuff. So I thought that was really, really cool.
That's good.
So he's going to come basically pick up all the parts. I'm going to ride back to his place with him. We're going to install everything. And then I'll just drive it back and I'll get to use, I close on the 28th. Tentatively, that's the scheduled closing date. I haven't had that confirmed yet, but that week I'm actually going to move. We're going to move all of our extra junk, right, just to minimize the house for the showing and all that. So I'll be doing that week. So all I've really been up to, honestly, is just getting stuff ready for this move. I've got the contractor, which is an interesting story, which I won't necessarily talk about on here, but a local guy. Local business contractor for the flooring and the drywall. They're going to do both the epoxy floors and the drywall and paint work in the garage.
Wow.
I will be doing another Mr. Cool mini split unit, 24,000 BTU this time. I'm going to go with the slightly larger unit, but I've talked with them. They're going to send another one out. I'm going to do another video on that. Which I'm excited about because I feel like there was a lot of things that I could have filmed better in the first video, even though that video did very well and people found it very helpful. Getting the lights situated. We'll see how that works out. But yeah, I did a poll in my Patreon. I've started to get a little bit more active on Patreon. And I was asking people over on Patreon, what are some of the things that they would like to see in the moving of a shop and setting up of a new shop. And I got some really, really, really good feedback there. A lot of the stuff that I already did last time. However, there's a few things that I didn't even think about doing last time that I will absolutely do this time. So that's cool. We're kind of just getting ready to move.
Yeah.
That's really it. I'm terrified of moving the shop again, but I think it's going to be fine.
It'll be easy. You got me this time.
Well, I was telling Nicole tonight, the weather was like super nice here today. Obviously, said
Yeah.
So we like grilled up some brats and some hot dogs and sat out back and just kind of BS'd for a while. And I told her, I was like, hey, when we move the shop's the last thing, all the big tools at least, last thing to go. I was like, when that happens, I want to have plenty of beers at the new house, and we'll just order pizzas and something, and we'll get everything moved. And then I want everybody that helped out, because realistically, it's going to be a lot of local woodworkers that are coming to, help.
Yep.
Which I've already had quite a few people say that they would be down to do that. And I just, want to say thanks, like beer and pizza, and just hang out after moving all that heavy crap, sit out back. And
it'll be at the end of April or mid-April?
End of April.
Oh boy.
Why?
I'm down in Texas at the Rubio event.
Yeah, but when?
I think 20. I'll be down there 26th in Austin through the 29th. And I got good timing, don't I?
It may not be that weekend. It may be the weekend before.
Oh, awesome. Man, I just want to make sure I can help.
And if it wasn't going to be, it now will be.
Yeah. No, I'll help you, man.
As soon as Sedge was like, oh, wait, I'm not going to be there. Darn. Oh, okay, we'll just
No.
move earlier.
No way, man. I want to help out. Yeah, because I want free beer.
Yeah, free beer and pizza.
Maybe you can get Sedge some wingies.
Said you like wingies.
Said you like wingies. That's why I'm stopping in Buffalo on the way to Providence for wingies.
Do you call them buffalo wings in Buffalo?
No, I don't know, man. But there's this really cool place called Duff's. I went there one time. Phenomenal wings. So I found a place and I booked a hotel near there for my pit stop.
Nice. If you're in France, do you call them French fries?
Freedom fries.
You call them frites.
Frites. Pomfret.
When I went to France, I was like, I want French fries. And they're like, we do not call them French fries. And I'm like, no, I want fries that are just weak.
That just laid down.
Yeah, that just lay down weak and flavorless. Sorry.
I'm sorry, monsieur, but we do not have
listening.
these French fries that you are asking about.
Pierre. So we have Hans, we have Pierre.
I thought this was a festival podcast, no? Here we are here talking about French fries and potato chips. Let's move on, shall we?
It's all you, buddy.
Oh,
it's time to start the topic.
What are we talking about tonight?
Well, good luck with the move, Jason.
You're more than welcome to come out.
That's actually happening now.
Oh, it's awesome.
It's not. We're not there yet. I'm still waiting.
Let's
on
not
the bank.
count this chicken before it hatches. Okay?
Yeah, I'm still very nervous. Like, I don't know why, but I'm just waiting on the bank to call me basically at this point and be like, all right, we're good to close. We'll see.
We're sorry, sir. There's a problem with your paperwork.
Yeah, it appears like you went out and purchased a Ferrari or something after you. That's
you're a little bit of what we call a high risk.
Yeah. Then I'll just tell them it's fine. The patrons paid for it.
Have you ever been in a helicopter? You want to go take a ride in one?
Yeah. I'm flying my private jet down there right now.
All right. Today's topic is projects that we think every woodworker should do at least once. I feel like, but I think if you're like in the very beginning of your woodworking journey, that these are the kinds of projects that you would need to build once, not because of like it's a testament of craftsmanship, but because you can actually you'll learn some fundamentals that will help you out later down the road in your woodworking journey. Now I don't know what Jason and Sedge are going to talk about. They don't know what I'm going to talk about, so it'll be interesting to see what we all kind of come up with.
So let me just ask. So you're looking for beginning projects for woodworkers that teach fundamentals?
That's my angle.
Okay.
That's the angle that I'm going to go from. But if you guys wanted to come at it from a different place, like maybe something that would challenge an intermediate woodworker or a more advanced, like it's whatever you interpreted that as whenever I pitched the topic the other day. So I can kick us off.
Okay.
Unless one of you. So I think one of the very first things that you should make, and it's a very simple project, and that's a picture frame. You're going to learn how to cut miters. You're going to learn how to cut rabbets or rebates or grooves, depending on how you put the picture frame together. You're going to have to learn how to make square stock, because if your stock isn't parallel, when you go to cut your miters are not going to equal 90 degrees. It's going to be like 87, 88, 89 degrees. And it's going to be very frustrating. And so, I recommend that, especially if you're just now getting tools, especially like a miter saw, a table saw, you're making sleds, that a simple picture frame, a mitered picture frame, that's going to test the accuracy of the machines that you're using if you're not doing it by hand. And again, it's a very simple project to build. It doesn't require a lot of materials to do it. But again, you're learning 3 very valuable skills, I guess, being mitered cuts, 90-degree angled cuts, or angles that make 90 degrees, rabbets and rebates. So that's the first thing that I think someone should learn how to make. What do you got, Sedge?
What is a rebate?
A rabbit. I said a rabbit or a rebate, depending on where you're at.
Depends on what side of the pond you're on.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, we call them rabbits. Everybody else calls them rebates.
Interesting. I did not know that.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of things.
I was like, you trying to get money back on your woodworking? That's weird.
What do you got, Sedge? What's a project you think every woodworker should make?
Okay. All right. The way I interpreted the question or the proposal on this was, okay, so what can somebody make with minimal tools?
Mm-hmm.
That they'll learn a lot of fundamentals, and then from there, when they scale it, they can use other tools to make it better over time. Does that make sense?
Oh, 100%.
Because there's certain ways to do joinery in the beginning, like screws and plugs, or screws countersunk with fill, wood fill.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. It's just, and I'll never, how do you say, belittle somebody, because I want people to discourage, because I want people to enjoy the journey of going through it, and then looking back at that project and going, oh, wow, that's how I began. And I do have pieces like that around my house. Okay. So
it gives a greater appreciation for other techniques.
Oh, and also design, because you look at some stuff that you made years ago. Holy crap. You go, who the hell was that? Fred Flintstone or Barney Rubble when I built that, It's all blocky. Okay. Yeah. It's not refined. So I always will tell people, are we just going to name one? Because I got 2 or 3 that I could go through, but we'll start with just one. Because I'll tell you what, a 5-board bench is really easy to do. You can do it with all hand tools. You can do it with power tools. But you guys know what a 5-board bench is?
No. It's a bench with 5 boards.
Well, it's a top, 2 stretches up top to link it in to 2 legs coming down. But the legs are almost like attached, a full piece of wood. But you cut to make it look like legs. You cut a V in there.
Oh, yeah.
You can do it with hand saws. Hand planes. You can pocket screw it together. You could screw and plug. You could screw and fill. But the end result is you have something that the kids can sit on, you can sit on. It'll hang around the house, maybe even a small one. And then over the years, you can refine it. You can add so many cool joinery techniques to it and stuff like that. So a 5-board bench is a great beginning project, because you can build one in an afternoon.
Yeah, with minimal tools.
And you can go to a local lumber yard and build it. And I mean, just buy one by fours, some 1x12s, and you're done.
Mhm.
It's a really, really simple project, but you have a piece of a bench, a piece of furniture at the end.
Good.
And it evolves. I love building benches, and it evolves over years. So, but there's certain things a woodworker needs to build. I call them rites of passage, because every woodworker needs to build one over the years, and I got plenty of projects like that. But in the beginning, I'm not gonna. I'll have Jason go, because I got another one that I have a video on Sedge tool that I taught Big D, because it used a lot of tools, and I taught him a lot of techniques on it. So I'll just kind of feed that and let Jason go on one.
Okay. Mine is very simple. A Sam Malouf rocker. I mean, that's
Oh my God, that's a rite of passage.
I mean,
That's
it only took him 40 years to make the design. So
I can't think of an easier project to start with. No, so in all seriousness, I would say I think a very good project to start with is building a base cabinet that has a drawer and a door.
Yep, I have that on my list.
The reason for that is because for some reason everybody's so intimidated with cabinetry. It's like they do everything else first. They build a table, they build a nightstand, they build a coffee table, they build all of these things. And it's like, all right, build a cabinet. And they're like, wait, what? There's so many fundamentals and basics involved with building a cabinet that I just think it's very beneficial, because you get to do so many things, right? You can experiment with different types of joinery. You're building a box, you're ensuring something is square, you're installing drawer slides, you are building a door where sure you might build a door with miters, you might build a shaker style door, you're going to be doing grooves, dados, you're going to be insetting panels, you're going to be building a drawer box. So there's a lot of things that you do in a simple project that a lot of people for some reason are very intimidated by. Yeah. So I think that's a really good start, and that could just be something for your shop. I mean, you can build a base cabinet for your shop, a storage cabinet.
That's what I was going to say. A lot of people do start with shop cabinets.
Yeah, I think a lot of. Oh yeah, I think that's a great way to start, because it's your shop furniture, and not to mention, it doesn't matter how nice you make it, you're always going to change it later on. So why not practice and learn different techniques? Same thing with finishing. I think the best possible way for you to test your theories on finishing is shop furniture, because it's never going to leave your shop, and it doesn't matter if it looks perfect in the end. It's shop furniture. So that things for your shop, but specifically building a cabinet that has a drawer and a door.
It's really good.
That's it, because there's so many different practical things that are going to be very beneficial to you for everything woodworking related in that one cabinet.
Yeah, that was one of the things I was going to put, a basic frameless cabinet.
Sam Malouf chair?
With shaker flat panel doors, because there's so much woodworking involved in there. But I even have here, people get intimidated by it. And I think I know what it is. I think it's measuring it and getting their dimensions right. And I don't think it's that easy.
It's the hardware.
That could be. Yep. I see that too. Hardware's, people get all discombobulated with it. And that's
because there's so many
easy.
hinges. There's so many different types of drawer slides. But here's the reality. People don't realize these things, right? If you're using side mount drawer slides, they're a 1/2 inch, right? So they're like, oh my gosh, I'm using side mount drawer slides. How big do I make my box? Well, if your opening is 14 inches, you're going to make your box 13 inches, period. On 99.9% of side mount drawer slides, that is the measurement. Under mount drawer slides, that's a whole nother conversation. And people are like, wait, what? Now it's my opening minus 42 millimeters. And wait, I have to have a 1/2 inch, for the bottom of the cabinet or the bottom of the drawer box. to make sure it sits on it. And then I have to drill a hole in the back and wait, hinges. Am I doing inset? Am I doing overlay? I don't know what hinge does which, and what's the tab, and what's
how do you drill that little hole in the back?
You just beat it. You just beat an indent into it.
Oh my God. Superstar.
He's becoming quite the regular on the old podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, our special guest, Leo.
Hi, Leo.
Can you say hi to everybody?
Hi.
Has anybody seen Leo?
Hi, Brian.
Hi, Brian.
Hi, Ben.
Hi, Ben.
Hey, buddy.
You're not loud.
What's that, buddy?
You're not loud.
Honey.
It's good. It's great podcast material.
Sorry.
I was going to say instead of a cabinet, I was going to say a cabinet, but I think also a keepsake box. Like you guys are saying now, like Sedge, you were saying that it's what was it, the measuring?
Yes.
I agree with you because there's interior measurements, there's exterior measurements, and I think that it's getting square cuts is another thing, because when people go to assemble these carcasses together, they struggle putting it together because their panels aren't square, whether that's because they didn't use the right reference surfaces or faces, or they didn't have an actual precise square. They just used like a carpenter square, or just all different kinds of reasons. But when I look at the Facebook groups, especially the beginner groups, when people are talking about cabinet builds, it's always things are out of square, or they're building drawer boxes and they're out of square, and they're like, well, how do I fix this?
And the other thing too, Ben, is I think that people don't understand a keepsake box. If you turn it upright, it's a cabinet. Yeah. But it's scaling, it's getting bigger.
Yeah.
And the thing that people get intimidated is they build a shop cabinet, 2 or 3 of them, right? And then you say, hey, that's awesome. It looks great. Let's try a cabinet. Let's try a kitchen. And they go, I can't do that. I go, yeah, you just did. It's a box is a box is a box.
It's the same
and a wall unit, a built-in. No, it's all boxes. So I actually was thinking of that earlier. I was thinking, a keepsake box. Yeah. That's a great start. But then you scale it up.
You start making drawers, and then you start making cabinets, and then you start making just all kinds, like it just, and that was my intention behind picking this topic is you're picking the projects that as you said earlier can scale into other things, other projects, because I 100% agree with you that people do get intimidated when they see these big builds, but it's like, it's literally the same thing. You start at a smaller scale and then you work your way up from there. Like that's why I said a picture frame, because you're learning how to do angled cuts and make it equal 90 degrees. When it comes, if you wanted to do a bigger build that incorporates mitered corners, well, now you know how to do that because you've already practiced on this little thing that doesn't require a lot of tools and doesn't require a lot of materials.
People freak out. They build the boxes and then they freak out about building doors. And a door is a shallow box.
Yeah.
And I try. It's amazing. When I taught doors and drawers class at Festool, and I go, guys, you're just going to learn how to measure for full overlay, inset, and partial overlay. It's easy once you understand the process.
Yeah.
And you gotta go through it. And I always encourage people, make plenty of mistakes. You're going to mismeasure. You're going to mismeasure your rails, and then you put it together and you get these massive gaps. Guess what? You just start over. It's just wood. That's all. It's just, you can repurpose the wood for something else, like a fire pit, whatever.
Yeah.
Have you seen the price of wood these days?
Oh my God. So you know what? You remember I told you about that birch plywood my buddy bought?
Yeah.
So I verified it again just to make sure. He bought it for $66 a sheet, 3/4 birch.
But he also bought 18 sheets though.
Birch or Baltic birch?
No, Baltic birch, 36 sheets of it.
Oh my
He
God.
bought it all. Yeah, he bought it all. 36 sheets. He's building
Holy
his
crap,
kitchen
man.
out of it. Yeah.
Jeez,
You know
that many? Do you need that many sheets for a kitchen?
Well, he's going to be selling some to good buddy Sedge soon.
Jeez, man.
Yeah, he's almost finished with it.
I mean, I'm in the
Hey,
market for some 3/4 inch Baltic birch. Just saying. I'll
yeah,
pay
so,
$70 a sheet.
Oh no, I'll sell it to you for 125.
I'd still pay that.
I know you would.
And those were 4x8 or 5x5.
4x8s.
I would definitely pay
gosh, man.
$125.
Mm-hmm.
Jeez.
He couldn't believe it. He couldn't believe it.
I can't believe it. I can't believe he got it for $66. Although I'm sure he got that price because of the quantity he purchased. That's insane, man. All right, the next project that I think that every woodworker should take a stab at is either a coffee table or a nightstand, one of the two. A very simple one, not like a box nightstand, but like a standing nightstand, I guess if you want to call it that. Because you're going to learn how to laminate boards together. You're going to learn, depending on the joinery techniques, and then there's so many different butt joints that you can use or apply to that.
He said butt joint.
Mortise and tenons.
Butt
you could
joint.
do pocket holes. You could do bridle joints. You could do castle joints. Like there's all different kinds of joints, and you really just got to kind of pick your poison. But that is such a simple build. It's a useful build. And that, again, as we were talking earlier, Sedge, you build that small coffee table or standing nightstand, and then you scale that up into a dining room table or a kitchen table, or a conference table.
Yeah.
The skills, they don't change, or the fundamentals don't change. Maybe a little bit with the dimensions based upon the thickness of the top that you're doing, but other than that,
It's
you're
like
still gonna have stretchers.
Yeah, it's like an occasional table, right? You get all of it, apron, skirt, and then you learn how to tape the legs. There's 100 ways to tape the legs, and then, like you said, you scale it up to a dining room table. But people get intimidated when they go big, and they shouldn't, because start small. Start with like what you just said, a nightstand. Throw a taped leg or a little flared leg at the end. My God, you look, and you're also learning design, right?
Yeah. Yep. Learning how to If you're using or designing on your own, or you're looking at proportions, you're looking at how do the legs look to the thickness of the apron. How does the apron look at the thickness of the table? Are you going to do thirds from that? Are you going to do a reveal with the aprons?
You're going to put a knack in the apron. You're going to put detail in the apron. Are you going to put a bead, or are you going to do a slight act?
We know Jason won't do an arc. We know that. He doesn't.
Only because Patrick wants me to.
Yeah.
No, it's funny. I actually, lately I've been starting to sketch out ideas because the new house we're moving into has a really big dining room, and we want to build a bigger dining room table for like big get-togethers. And I've been sketching up a design for a table, and it's going to have some curves in it.
Because you're going to do a river table. That's why.
Right. 100%. Yep. River table. I love epoxy. I think they're beautiful.
You can take it and explode
just so I can rub it in Patrick's face. I feel like see that Patrick, it's curves.
What you ought to do is you ought to cut some curved aprons and then show Patrick and then light it on fire.
Yep. Then I can be like, see, I'm as good of a woodworker as a Marine.
Oh my God. He burns everything.
Yeah.
Scorched earth.
And he makes everything out of mahogany, which is not a bad thing. Mahogany is beautiful. Anyway, who's up next? Sedge? Yeah.
Sedge.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so there's another fun. Okay, so a woodworker's rite of passage is building a chair, whether it's a Welsh stick chair, a Windsor chair, but sometimes that's intimidating, right? So a great beginner project, and I'm saying this not to call out a video on Sedge Tool, but Big D said, hey, I want to build something. So we did this, the chairs I have kind of leaning up against, we call them the Indian chairs.
Yeah.
guys. You know, the 2-piece chairs. I built them during a train the trainer over in Germany, and it was really cool because at the end of the day, we had these chairs. We all sat out, had a picnic, drank a couple of beers, nice dinner, but we all made our own chair, and it's out of 2x12s. You get it at the home center, and that's what I'm going to design templates with Jordan because I'll offer those eventually. But it's really cool because I thought about it as I was doing it with Big D. It teaches a lot of fundamental woodworking, a router, a jigsaw. Okay. Just, making sure the boards are the right thickness, and then mortising that hole in the middle. It's just easy, and a lot of sanding involved. And then a final fit to make sure that one piece goes through the center of that mortise. There's a lot to it, but at the end of the day, you can knock it out. And also templating, which is really important because you're going to make more of them. And then you can take that template and just use half of it to make one for a child. It's a lot of fun. I think I got like 5 right now leaning up against the door of the garage. Because if we have extra company, we just sit on these Indian chairs. They're actually, you guys are gonna laugh at this. You'll see it. You Google it. It says African birthing chair. It's just weird, but that's what they are. It's kind of like a chair that goes down and cants up. They're a great beginner project.
And for giving birth, apparently.
Oh, yep. Absolutely.
I have one for Nicole
Jason,
when Max is going to be born.
Yeah, you guys are going to need one.
Yep. Sedge made it.
Jesus.
He made it out of rich mahogany.
Sir, you can't bring that in the delivery room. No, this is what this is for.
This is a birthing chair.
It's a birthing chair. It's a great project to teach fundamentals. And it sounds funny, but what's the project that everybody builds? I think they even build them at the Home Depot for the kids. They have everything pre-cut, but it's a great beginning project. It's a toolbox, right? A birdhouse, but a toolbox to carry stuff. You could do dividers, you round it over and stuff like that. You drill a hole and it's a dowel. But guess what? You learn a lot of stuff doing that.
That's how I got started. And I went there when I was like 30 years old. I'm here for the birdhouse class.
You look good in an orange apron, baby.
Thank you. Hey, don't say that. It's gonna make Leather by Dragonfly jealous.
Ooh, thanks, Homer.
Yeah.
All right, Jason, what do you got?
You talked about it on a smaller scale, but I was actually going to say a dining room table. For many of the reasons why you said a coffee table or a end table, but I'm going to flip it. I actually find that, to me, the bigger the project, the easier it is. The smaller the project, the harder it is.
Okay. Well, can you explain that? Because that's a very like you would think the opposite.
Yeah, you would think the opposite, but the smaller the pieces and the smaller the project, the more delicate I feel like you have to be, and the more difficult it is to work with the pieces of wood.
And you would say that even as like someone that's just now getting into woodworking?
Yes. Yep. So here's my take on it, right? It's not an end table, and a coffee table is not a good example because both of those have big enough and long enough pieces to still be manageable. But let's compare it to, say, a jewelry box.
Yeah.
Right? Your material is thinner. Your material is smaller. The pieces are more delicate. Therefore, I feel like it's easier to screw things up, as opposed to when you have a much larger piece. I feel like it's a lot easier to manage and manipulate for most people. And a table is a really simple project. Matter of fact, I can't really think of many large furniture pieces that are easier. Excuse me. I'm like bleeding out of my hand. This is strange. So a dining room table, you have a flat panel top. You have 4 legs and an apron. It doesn't get much easier than that. And you don't even have to do anything crazy. I think the reason why I'm so like tied to this is because the very first project that I did, it was I built a like a storage bench, like a tool bench kind of. That was technically the first thing that I ever built, but I needed somewhere to put my tools for the project. But a dining room table is the first big project that I built. I built a lot of smaller projects since then that were, I find, actually more difficult to manage. And I find more of a pain in the butt than doing a large table. So you make a flat top, 4 legs, apron. And you have a piece of furniture that is very useful, and that you can use for many years. And it's something that you're going to use every day. And it's not that hard of a project.
But let's unpack the skills that are needed and the tools that are needed to build that properly.
Let's unpack it.
So right off the bat, you need to be able to make your materials coplane and parallel. I mean, okay, you could, especially for the tabletop, like even like I honestly can't think of any lumber that you're going to buy unless you get it straight from.
You're looking at it the wrong way.
Okay.
You're looking at it the wrong way.
Okay.
You're looking at it from somebody that has the experience. What you need to be looking at it from is somebody that's wanting to build a project for the first time. I'm just starting out. They're not thinking about those things. So the way I'm looking at,
but I'm thinking of the problems that they're going to experience when they get to the conclusion, and there are a lot of issues that they are having and they don't know how to resolve it, because I see that all the time.
How are they going to learn though? They're going to learn by going through the process, correct? Well, yeah, this is a very I think that this experience, I'm so glad that you brought that up, because I said that because I wanted to generate that conversation. I knew that at least one of you guys was going to immediately divert to that. We're thinking about it too much. We're talking about a beginner.
Goes and gets like 3 or 4 2 by 12s.
Yep.
Southern yellow pine, throws them together with pocket screws underneath, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now they have a tabletop. It's got a slight warp to it. But then they go and get these 4x4s, maybe put a taper, maybe buy tapered legs, throw an apron skirt on there with some more pocket screws, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then a couple of stretches underneath to lock it all together. Guess what? They get a table. Is it wobbly? Is it warped? Okay. Do they know how to, do they have a router to put a round over on it? Maybe. But they got a table. Is that what you're getting at, Jace?
Yes. And so that project, that very first project that I did, I had a miter saw.
Mm-hmm.
I had a Craig pocket hole jig. I had some clamps, and that was it.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have a joiner. I did not have a planer. I did not have a table saw. I did not have anything.
Do you have a sander?
I had a sander. Yep. Random orbital sander. Here's what that project taught me though. By doing that, it was construction grade lumber. It was pocket hole together, everything. You know why? Because I watched a YouTube video on how to make a DIY table.
Mm-hmm.
That project taught me a lot, because and it had breadboard ends, by the way, which were pocket holed.
Oh my God.
Yeah. It taught me a lot. It was a very inexpensive build. It was a rustic farmhouse table. But I got to see what the boards did over time. I got to see what happens when you screw everything up and then stain it and then realize that the joints are starting to pull apart. And then you see in between, some of the joints in some areas, stuff falls down into the cracks. Breadboards are not meant to be pocket holed on. I think you can hear people say those things all day long, and then you'll just go, it's like in the military, Ben. I heard a guy say this one time, so that's truth. Well, how do you know? Did you ever experience it? No. Well,
Yeah.
by experiencing it, you can actually attest to those things. Like, hey, I did that and I know that this is wrong. I think that, and this is now to flip this the complete opposite direction. Let's say you have some of those tools. Let's say when you start, you're like, I'm going to start woodworking. What are the tools I need? And they reach out to somebody like us. And I'm like, well, a joiner's nice to have, a planer's nice to have, table saw's nice to have, all these things. They buy all those things. And they're like, okay, now what do I do? Build a fucking table.
Yeah.
Right? Build it, because it is going to teach you a lot of things, even if it's not the very basic beginner and I don't have any of these tools. The set of things that the other person that actually did buy those tools, they're going to learn a ton from it, because they are going to surface material. They are going to attempt to make square cuts. They are going to have parallel edges. Maybe they use a biscuit joiner, maybe they don't. Maybe their tops come out flat, maybe they don't. I just think a table has so many different opportunities. No matter how complex or easy it is, it's going to teach you a lot of things, whether it's through trial and error or it's through, having all the tools or not having all the tools. That's kind of what I was trying to get at. So I'm Ben, I'm very glad that you brought that up, because that like set it up perfectly for the conversation.
I still disagree.
Okay, why?
Because it wasn't the table that gave you this hindsight experience. It was failures. Failures are what gave it to you. It could have been anything else, right? But that table and the failures that you had from it challenged your understanding of how to build a table properly. And my argument is that you could still learn just as much by building it properly, right? And again, like, this is going back to, like, this is someone that's brand new to woodworking. They wouldn't know any different. I would always recommend someone for their first project to build it out of plywood, because it's already dimensionally stable. I don't need as many tools to process it, right? Because just how you experienced, Jason, like, yeah, like there's so much that can go wrong, especially when you buy construction pine. There's a lot that can go wrong if you buy rough lumber. I said it earlier that the first thing that I think of that they would need to know how to do is plane and parallelness. And I actually kind of want to backstep that a little bit, and you have to wait, because I think that any lumber that you bring into your house, you have to wait for it to stabilize first. So that's probably the first thing, that the skill that they would need to have is knowing you have to let the lumber settle first before you even start milling it. But again, when it comes to plywood or sheet goods, you don't have to do that. It's already dimensionally stable, and it's going to require less tools to process it. Can you build the exact same stuff to a degree? Yes, you can. Is it going to look as good? Maybe not. But you can learn a lot by processing dimension lumber or sheet goods without wasting money, time, or effort.
Let me ask you
now,
this.
you can still screw things up, but there's less of a chance of screwing up by working with a sheet good that's not going to move on you.
Let me ask you this.
Mm-hmm. Are you gonna put the plywood top with all that fancy end grain in your dining room?
No, but it's a good kids table. It's a good nightstand. You put some edge banding on it.
No, I get what you're saying. There's a lot of value in that, but like a beginner's they're not thinking about wood movement. But
no.
My question is, what was your last recommendation? A end table or a nightstand or a coffee
either
table,
a nightstand
correct?
either a nightstand or a coffee table.
So let's simplify a coffee table. Let's say a top with 4 legs and an apron. What's the difference between your coffee table and my dining room table?
Just the material that's being used.
Nope. Coffee
What?
table, dining room table. What's the difference?
There is no difference. The size.
Size.
Yeah.
Right. So it's
Does
the same
size
thing.
matter?
Right. That's what some people say.
Hey yo.
I'm just bringing that back to the fact that, like, the conversation isn't processing materials necessarily. The conversation is a project, and a coffee table, which was your recommendation,
Yeah,
is exactly the same thing in most cases, just a smaller scale. So my original argument was I actually found bigger projects to be easier. Yeah, they're heavier, they're all that kind of stuff. But it's no different. It's just a larger scale of a smaller thing. You know what I'm
My
saying?
thing is,
You
is
said a
that
smaller thing, I said a bigger thing.
no, but my thing is that if you're building something that is smaller in scale, you're not using as much materials. And so, I could 100% make a coffee table out of a half a sheet of plywood. That still gives me another half to, make something else or remake something else. But if I'm buying, at least now, I mean, I know that when you made your coffee table or your table back then, that lumber was not as expensive as it is now.
Yeah,
but
you're looking at it from a cost savings perspective.
yeah, because when I first started woodworking, I didn't have enough money to get a whole bunch of materials. Like I had enough money to buy a couple tools, and like I would have to plan my projects out by month because that's when I could buy the materials, you know. Um, but I think that from a skill point building perspective, that you're going to learn a whole lot more, or you're going to have some really good fundamentals nailed down if you're doing things the right way, as opposed to like just royally screwing things up, wasting materials, getting pissed off, getting irritated.
I agree with that. I
Yeah.
agree with that. But again, to go back to it, there is absolutely no difference between doing the coffee table and a dining room table. I think that the conversation changed. You cannot make that argument between the two, because if you're doing it right with the coffee table and you want to do it right, I was just using my experience as an example.
Yeah.
But I think that's a whole different argument and valid. Because I totally get what you're saying. But I still believe that a dining room table, from my perspective, a larger project I found to be easier than smaller projects, but you can't really compare it to a coffee table because a coffee table is still not a small project, right?
Yeah.
But on the argument's sake of like the two things are the same, I think we're just kind of we're picking at different perspective or different points.
Ben's
you know what I mean?
Ben's looking
cost
at a
perspective,
cost
and he's
savings.
right. He's 100% correct.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at it from a
bigger
coffee table, great project. To me, my first project was a table, and there is a lot of value in making those mistakes and learning things. But if you're talking about
100%.
cost, yeah, you don't want to waste all that money.
Yeah,
on materials, but
like
you're going to waste money on materials in the beginning.
No, absolutely, and that's all I was saying is to try to reduce the pain that you're going to have from essentially wasting that material.
I can count on 0 fingers how many things I have that I built my first year in my house.
Yeah.
I think that's probably with most people.
Yeah.
Unless you're
sold
Ben.
it to other people.
Ben has everything. Yeah, it's exactly. I was like, oh yeah, I built this. It's amazing, isn't it? Right? Yeah, you don't even know.
Hurry up and buy it before the wood changes.
$1,000. I used Minwax dark walnut stain. Sedge. Oh wait.
Yes.
I was the third one to go.
Yeah.
I'm surprised nobody said a hand tool bench.
Oh, like a Rubo or a work table bench?
Yeah, because isn't that like a rite of passage? Hand tooling?
I think that goes back to what Sedge was saying, right? With the 5-panel bench.
No, the 5-board bench. No, that's a real
It's like a sitting bench.
There is a rite of passage, and it's building your own workbench. There's another rite of passage. It's building a boat. There's another rite of passage is building a musical instrument. There's another rite of passage, turning a bowl, turning a spindle. That's all the progression, because I've seen so many people, I think I want to make a guitar now. But one of the things you want to make is a table to work on in your shop. And that may start. And Ben, when you start talking about a plywood table, I built plywood tables, but they were work tables in my shops back in Fort Lauderdale. They were made out of plywood. They were super simple. You could build them in a night. And when you're setting up shop, you just build like 4 or 5 of these, some cheetah tables and some quick, tables for your setting your sprays on and everything like that. Hey, I'll tell you right now, I have a buddy down in Fort Lauderdale who used to say, "Oh, you're a carpenter. You know what you're doing." I go, "Yeah." I go build your sawhorses. And he would give them some material, and he would see how they built their sawhorses. A carpenter should build sawhorses. That's the first thing they should build because they need them. And build a couple of them. And there's a lot of skill because of the angles and a couple of sawhorses.
Yeah.
And you'll see them. That's another thing that people build or test somebody with their skills on the job site.
I would have never thought of that. That's a really good point. Sawhorses.
And you would think that it's not a hard thing to build because it's such an easy application or it's a very simple application. But you're right. There are a lot of compound angles that are involved there. It's really good.
Sawhorses. I've never built sawhorses.
There's some really cool designs out there.
I'm pretty sure that no one has ever built a walnut sawhorse before.
Good point. I should totally do that. World's most epic walnut sawhorses. You won't believe what happened.
You won't believe what happened next.
Yeah. That's a good video right there. Good video idea.
I'll be right back, guys.
Okay.
Jason.
What?
Is there any project that you did? I mean, obviously you said that table that you built, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is there any other table that comes like in a second place as to like the one that you learned the most from or taught you the most or kind of made you pivot in how you looked at woodworking?
It wasn't a project. It was a tool.
Which was?
A joiner and planer.
And
I built lots.
What was it?
I built a lot of things that did not, and a table saw is another good example. I built a lot of things that before I had any of those tools. I didn't even know what those tools were. I built my first table. I built I was just buying lumber from Lowe's and Home Depot, and it was like, oh, I need lumber that is already perfectly, surfaced. And so I was buying the expensive poplar and pine and all these things. Right? Everything. I feel like everybody goes through this, but then when I got a jointer and a planer, I was like, wait, what is this magical world of woodworking?
Yes.
I swear to God, it was like completely life-changing for me. Same thing when I got a table saw and I could just take 2x4s and rip the rounded edges off of them. It was like everything changed for me when I had that ability. It wasn't a project, it was the tool.
It's when crappy lumber becomes nice stuff.
Yeah.
Right. And you go, oh wow, I can get that straight edge. You right?
As soon as I got a joiner and planer, I was still buying construction grade lumber, but I was taking that construction grade lumber and turning it into dimensional construction grade lumber. Changed everything. So it wasn't, I still had the same fundamentals. I incorporated new tools. I remember when I got a biscuit joiner. I had no idea what a biscuit joiner was. And I remember I saw one online on Facebook Marketplace. A guy was selling a biscuit joiner, a DeWalt. And I realized what it was for, and I went and bought it. I used it one time, and I was like, where has this been my entire life? And I feel like that is exactly what everybody goes through. It's never like, there's certain things that I've learned on projects. Cabinetry is a really good example of that. Tables is tables, right? Like you're building a panel, you're building legs and an apron. That's it. It's easy. It's with cabinetry, you build one with rabbets, you build one with dados, you build one with screws, you build one with brad nails, you build one with domino connectors, you build one with whatever. You learn something new every single time. I use these types of slides. I use these other types of slides. I do a face frame. I do a frameless. Those are the things where, I actually learned each time I built one, like this was not the best way to do it. You go to assemble something and you're like, why is my assembly process messed up? Why is this a pain in the butt to assemble? Let's find a better way. So I think that I've definitely learned a lot by building multiple different styles of cabinets. But when it comes to like regular old projects, like I don't glue up a tabletop any different now than I did 2 years ago.
Yeah.
But I definitely glue up a tabletop differently now than I did 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Right. Tools make a big part, make a big difference. Sedge.
I've taught quite a few cabinet classes at Festool over the
you work for
years,
Festool?
and I've had a lot of.
Is that
Yeah,
a tool?
I
Is that a
started
tool
couple days
company
ago.
or?
Yeah.
Eh,
Is it like
it
Ryobi?
is. It's a system. It's a system. No, it's just a system.
I haven't seen
And
it at Home Depot.
over the years, probably I don't even want to count how many cabinet classes I taught, but I had a lot of newbies in there, and it always would get to the end of the second day. Oh, yeah, gonna have a cabinet. I go, grasshopper. It's a process, and that's what they learned, because you got to do so much to build a box. But what people don't know are the steps to get there. You got to rip parallel. You got to cross cut your pieces all equal. You got to groove. You got to edge band. You got to punch your system holes. And that's a process. Then you got to go do your joinery. So now I am in the middle of the second day, and I go, oh my God, I never under. And then all of a sudden I go, you guys want the box? They go, yeah. I go, okay, let's screw it. Domino it and screw it. And they go, oh my God, we had this box in 5 minutes, 10 minutes. I go, it's a process. You just got to understand the steps.
That's the interesting thing about cabinetry. The more time you spend on the panels, everything before you actually assemble it.
Yeah.
Yep.
The easier it becomes. So it's a lot of work to get to that point, but it's a lot of repetition. So if I'm building 20 cabinets, okay, that means I got to cross cut and rip 20, enough for 40 sides, enough for 40 tops and bottoms. Mm-hmm. And then I've got to put the groove in all of them, and I've got to cut all my panels, and I've got to put all my shelf pin holes, and I've got to put my hinge hole locations. Once all of that's done, it's as simple as just throwing the damn thing together.
Hello.
And clipping everything in. That's it.
But that's intimidating. People don't understand the process of processing the panel. And it's easy once you understand it. Okay. You guys know the Sis wall I built? I think I have 18 bays. What's 18 times 3? I can't do math tonight. Whatever 54. That is. Okay, yeah. So I have 54 boxes I built last summer. I did it in steps, but it's not difficult. It's just time consuming about processing the panels. That's all it is.
Yeah. It's the same thing over and over and over and over and over and over again.
I'm going to tell you what, I love it. That's my zen. I like doing it by myself. I just get in there and I go 6 hours straight, 8 hours straight. And I love it. At the end of the day, I'm just like, I'm in heaven. I'm in heaven. Punching holes, system holes, LR32. Freaking love it. Trim and edge banding. Oh, nothing better.
Oh.
Actually, I just enjoy
applying
it so
the
much.
Edge banding. That's better than trimming it.
Ooh.
As long as you're using the Conturo.
Absolutely. And that's a great machine. That's a great machine. Ben, you've got a Conturo, don't you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I have to borrow Jason's.
Yeah, I just use it last week. I
charge him $20 an hour.
I was getting all my stools made.
Man, it's just an amazing machine.
All your shoddy stools?
No.
I mean, that's what you said. Say they were shoddy.
My superior stools.
Yeah. I think I need to get in the stool game on Etsy.
Man.
I'm going to make mine out of walnut plywood.
All this saturated market.
All this talk about stool. I got to go. Hang on.
Yeah.
He's got to go take his Metamucil.
Yeah.
Oh, that ain't right, man. Hey, is that a cold snap?
Are you asking me?
Yeah. You drinking a cold snap?
Sedge, you know me better than that.
He's drinking an Ultra. A Michelob.
Oh, okay.
Mikhail Loeb.
Mikhail. Sedge, I asked Jason earlier, you'd gone off to take your Metamucil. What was...
Impregnate his sock.
Oh my God. I actually checked to see what the noise was outside because I thought someone was getting in one of the cars.
You thought someone was getting in your socks again.
Oh, you behave.
What was a either a job or a project that kind of and I know you've been woodworking since you were a kid, but what was a project or a build that where it just really clicked for you and you kind of pivoted into becoming a better woodworker,
Oh, okay. Better woodworker. Okay.
which we're all still waiting for that day to happen. But if it were to happen, what would it be? I was playing.
But seriously,
Really,
I can remember when I really found out that I liked woodworking. You want to know what that was?
you
When
found
built
Ben's woodworking on
when you
YouTube.
built a skateboard ramp.
No, you make me laugh. I can't believe you remembered that. I built a cribbage board with my grandfather when I was 7 years old.
A what?
A cribbage
Cribbage?
board.
What is that?
Cribbage.
You know, cribbage. The card
No, I
game
don't know.
cribbage.
Oh, I
And
don't
you make
know.
it's a board and you just drill a bunch of holes. My grandfather even made the little brass and you move your
ladies'
pegs
man.
on this board. And cribbage is an incredibly fun game once you get a bunch of people together. And I made one with my grandfather, and we chamfered the edges and everything. He was a master carpenter up in northern Maine and also a Maine guide. And oh my God, he even made his own brass pins, and he would file the markings in them, and just he was a master craftsman. And I used to watch him do that, and I was like, man, I want to do that someday. And he also made snowshoes, his own design of snowshoes. So for me, that's when I got the, I guess I would say, the bug.
Yeah.
I was supposed to go learn to make snowshoes with him when I was 12, but he passed away that summer. And I was like really bummed out. And then I started making skateboard ramps and skateboards. But
Up in Lawston.
fast forward, what really got me pumped to really, what was my turning point? Oh my God.
Because I mean, we're not born great craftsmen. We all have this one. Jason, shut up. We all have that one experience where we make this catastrophic mistake, and it just kind of makes us, or it forces us to really relook at how we're making things or building things, and it just kind of becomes like a catalyst for us to be really good craftsmen.
I don't think I'm a good craftsman.
Dude,
no one's arguing.
I'm constantly learning. I've built a lot in my life, and I built professionally for a while, but I'm trying to think of it. Maybe it's a kitchen that I was doing, or I'm thinking about something that really pushed the envelope. And I remember I was building this table with a bunch of compound angles in the back and also on the pedestals, and ripping it. And I'll tell you what, I built for 2.5 days a bunch of jigs to get the right compound angles on my 66, my Palmatic 66. And I was building a jig for one side of this. It was all sheet goods, and it had to come together. And what's really weird, you want to hear a really cool thing about it, is they didn't come together perfect. So I went out and bought, because I had seen a track saw at Eddie's. It was an ATF 55.
Yeah.
And that changed my life, because I went and bought it to cut, and I cut everything again. I cut everything over, all those compound angles. I wasted a lot of material, but I cut them all over in about 2 hours. And I was freaking blown away. The guys who sold it to me, they had showed it, did a demo. I was in buying lacquer thinner. I don't know if I ever told you this story. I probably haven't. I'm probably being repetitive. I was buying I always buy from Eddie at Marine Industry Tool and Supply. I would buy my lacquer thinner because he had a great deal on 5-gallon cans. And I was buying a couple of them, and I said, what the hell's this Festool stuff? I heard about it, Fine Woodwork, and they were doing a thing on the Rotex. And he just ran an ATF 55 on a track, and he tilted the saw, and it cut on the same line. And I went, holy shit, that's pretty cool. And then that's all he had to do. He kind of planted a seed. He goes, how much? I go, how much is that saw? Is it come with the track? And he goes, yeah, $430. I go, German's crazy, man. And I walked out of there. I grabbed
We're all
my
crazy.
couple of cans.
We're all
I
crazy,
grabbed 10
Sedge.
gallons of lacquer and walked out. You're all crazy, man. And you know what? God damn it. He did that damn demo and it stuck in my head. That's the guy I work for on the weekends. And that's how I got involved with Festool, because I met a couple of the sales reps there. But you know what? I think that might have, but I think that might have turned a couple things in my life. I got to know the Festool brand because of that, but also it pushed me. I think builds that pushed me are the ones I think I remember the most.
Yeah.
I've had a couple of installs that really pushed my butt, and they were wicked frustrating, but it wasn't the boxes I built, but it was the install that really ticked me off. I was supposed to take a couple hours and it took me all night. I didn't get out of that office until 5 a.m. God damn, that really, but I learned a lot on it. Yeah. So awesome, I guess that's it. I guess it's the stuff that frustrates you that you push through. And that's the stuff that I think makes you a better woodworker. I don't get frustrated. Walk away from it. I tell people all the time, walk away from it. And then come back out to the shop the next day. Just chill out, man. Enjoy the journey. And that's what I had to learn. I was really blessed, fortunate to have a business partner who thought the same way, Mikey. And there were times I go, dude, it's 1 a.m. We keep going. We're going to screw this up even more than we screwed it up already. Let's walk.
Yeah.
Especially when we were finishing it and spray and finish. I go, dude, we need to move out. We need to go back home. I'll see you in the morning. It was 1 a.m. We get back in there at 6 a.m., and go back in and go, you figure it out? He goes, no, did you figure it out? I go, no, let's go get some breakfast. Go get some breakfast, come back about, 7 or 8. And we figured it out. But once things start going south, it's good to walk away from it. It really is. And that's how I continued doing what I was doing, because I really enjoyed the journey. And guess what, Jason, you said something so damn profound. You said, I don't think I'm that great a woodworker, because you're always learning, right?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not.
And you humble yourself to continue to get better in your craft.
I mean, all the people say it in the comments that I'm not a good woodworker. So.
No, I'm not. I look at other people. Like 90% of the people that we recommend to follow on this podcast, I mean, they're way better woodworkers than I am. A lot can be misconstrued by Instagram and pictures and YouTube videos and stuff. It all looks the way we want it to look. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not going to say 100%. That I'm
100%.
some expert. I'm not.
I think that.
I mean, I'm amazing, but I'm not.
I don't have to impress anybody. The only person I have to impress is my wife, Jason, when I build stuff for the house. You
need to impress me, Sedge.
I think that as long as you're continuously trying to challenge your knowledge and your skill set, that that you're going to continue to kind of that is the glide path for like really becoming great at whatever it is that you're doing, and not to kind of comment on the stupid ways that Jason always closes his videos, always get out in the shop and try something new.
How dare you?
But that's actually true though. Like,
you're welcome.
You're not.
I've never gotten to the end of his videos. He says that.
Damn, son. And guess what, Sedge? No one else does either. I just have to sit there and watch his videos.
I have to watch one.
Silver play button, gentlemen.
But I think that no matter what project you're starting with or what project you're doing next, if you're not challenging yourself, then you're not growing as much as you probably could or should. And I think that that's probably where I get the most enjoyment out of what we do is is that I'm constantly learning things, whether that's from woodworking or doing the podcast or a YouTube channel. Like I love the act of trying to chase down that thing that I don't know how to do yet.
Mm-hmm.
And again, if you're not challenging yourself, then you're not doing it right, I don't think. So, gentlemen, those are all great project recommendations for any woodworker.
I think so. I think it was pretty cool.
Absolutely.
And I thought what I think was cool. What I thought was cool is we all agreed on building a cabinet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean that's like the building block.
Yep.
And when all else fails, just buy a domino. Domino fixes everything.
And why wouldn't you?
This podcast is brought to you by Festool Products of North America.
Yeah.
I wish.
Speaking of Festool, I released my
Top Rock
video today. It's bombing like crazy.
Hey,
well,
I'm not surprised.
It's
a sustainer speaker.
Yeah,
it's not a highly searched thing.
Or recommended thing.
Thing is amazing though. I love it.
But by the way, that Trackstar video's cranking, isn't it?
Yeah, it did pretty good.
Yeah.
Keith says he really likes his too.
Oh, it's so good. It's actually, what's funny? I've had a couple people comment on this today. They're like, it's $225 for the Top Rock Sustainer. The sound is amazing. I swear to God, I've been listening to it every single day since I got it. I'll just jam out. I brought it in the house when I was working on Leo's bathroom and I had it playing, it was great. And it's somebody like two or three people have already commented on the video and they're like, dang, I'm actually really impressed. That's like $100 less than the Milwaukee pack out speaker sustainer or whatever the heck they have.
And can we also mention that it legitimately looks like a boombox?
I mean, it is.
It is.
Yeah.
You hold that sustainer on your shoulder like it's a boombox.
Yeah, but what's cool.
I should have done that for the thumbnail.
Jason, I was really impressed when you said it's just in the lid.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And that's what people don't understand. They think it's the whole sustainer.
Yeah.
Nope.
That's pretty cool.
And it's base reflex, kind of like another brand's Wave, whatever. And the sound coming out of it's incredible. The
really
more
good.
I listen to it, I like it. And man, I just had to throw away all my prototypes that I had. So now I have the newer ones.
Yeah.
No, I was going to say it.
Why would you hold on to it?
So you know what the problem with this is?
You threw it on top of the CS70 when you lit it on fire.
No. You know how you showed soft close on there? The originals didn't have soft close, and I do have like a couple prototypes in the training center, and it's a real pisser when you forget that's the prototype, and
Wham!
you're like, wham on your fingers. That soft close is cool, huh?
It's very cool.
It's a neat feature. And you can store stuff in there.
Every sustainer should have it.
And what's really nice is the charger comes in that little designer bag, and that bag alone is $300. So it's kind of nice.
Yeah, it's just a little nylon bag.
It's a little Gucci bag.
It's made of gold threads. So
treads, as we say in Maine, treads.
Yeah, treads.
Yep.
There's no H's in Maine.
No, it's really cool.
Treads, snow treads. I use snow treads. Threads. I have snow threads on my car.
Well, guys, what time is it?
What time is it, Jason?
I think it's get banned.
I don't know, Hans.
Hi, guys. It's time to see how much hatred the internet has brought us this week. Thankfully, there are no hatreds for me. Sedge, Sedge, he's already done his quarterly hatred last month, so we know he's good for the next 2 months.
I'm good.
So that means that Jason, it's all your hatred for this episode.
Hey, Hans, quick question for you. Have you by chance made a turning content into contempt or the hatreds hoodies yet?
No, those are all coming out soon. And I'm not going to do that first. First, Hans is going to flex his own brand, the Panzerbrats. That will be the first hoodies that come out. Is Hans's Panzerbrats. It's me. I'm straddling a Panzer, and it's very.
And you have your
It's very
brat
erotic.
out.
I have
very
my
erotic.
links. My links.
My links.
But no, there are also
man.
there'll be other ones, because Hans is responsible for the Green Switchers podcast merchandise. So there will be a Sedge like Vingies hoodie and T-shirts. There will also be, as I said earlier, it's a Panzer brought one.
Get bent.
And
Oh no, I
then
think
there
I'm gonna
will
do get bent.
there will also be the Jason Bent socks. One will be on there. I think that would be a top seller.
And I have something printed that I thought you guys were messing with me. I got an email. Can I put this in the Get Bent? It's just funny.
Of course.
Sure.
Okay, so
all hatred is allowed in this segment, Sedge.
it's not really hatred. It was somebody was reaching out to me, Jason, and Ben. You probably get approached by companies from Asia about promoting their tool brand.
Only every day.
Okay, no. But this one I actually read because the person was Wang Showman at Banggood. The name of the company is at Banggood.
Oh, Banggood. They're
But
they're
his
hot and
name is
heavy
Wang
on the prowl.
Showman.
Yeah, that like I said, that was my stage name in Vegas before I joined
Oh
the
my
Army.
god. And he said, "This is Sweaty from Banggood."
We can't see it. Where is it?
It's like, is this Sweaty Balls from Banggood? I was like, I printed that out. And I went, oh my god, somebody's messing with me. So I thought I'd just put that in there. It's not really
no.
hatreds, but
Banggood is a legit company.
Is it really?
Oh yeah, they reach out to everybody.
Oh my god! But his name's Wang
Except
Showman.
except for Hans. Hans has never heard of these peoples.
Yeah,
It's because of
Hans.
your Panzer brats.
That's
right.
because you're German. They know
They-
that you're above their quality.
They can't handle these Panzer brats. All right, Jason, what do you got for us this week?
I have got 2 comments. I haven't had a ton of negative ones lately, but I'm going to go and read these. So this is from my Festool's newest track saw, the TS55F.
Ooh.
This person states, so I have the Makita corded track saw. My partner has the Festool corded track saw. Same compatible track. My Makita cuts with a thin curved blade and is every bit as good as Festool for a couple $100 less. There's simply no way to reconcile Festool's prices.
Mhm.
Bosch and Makita offer much better bang for the buck and deliver quality tools.
I didn't catch that he said that he's used the Festool saw before. I didn't catch that in his comment.
I think I must have left that part out.
That's yeah.
Thank you for your opinion.
You know what? Guys? I'm just gonna come out and say it that the Lamborghini, the Prius gives you almost the same competitive performance that a Lamborghini does. I don't need to drive a Lamborghini to know that it's better than my Prius. Come on, guys. Why?
So
if I have to compare something, why would I ever need to try the other product?
you know what? Let me read this next comment, and I want to come back to what you just said jokingly as Hans with a conversation that I had with Sedge this weekend in your car on the way from Woodcraft back to your house.
Mhm.
Hold on. All right. This one is on what the difference between Festool dust extractors. This person says, why would you want Bluetooth for a vacuum? Does it play
Jesus.
music? The boom arm is $450. On what planet does Festool come from?
Clearly, he's never used.
Hans, answer that, please.
Planet
Clearly,
of awesome. How about that?
Mr. Dinglinger, you have never used Bluetooth technology before on a vacuum system, so I can't even comment on that.
Yeah.
Okay, so can I comment on it?
You
When
can.
I
You actually
first-
left another comment before that, but this one was better.
When I first saw Bluetooth on a dust extractor, I kind of understood it. But man, once you put it on there and you're cleaning up and doing stuff away from the dust extractor, I'm going to tell you what, I have an old CT, I have CT22s in here. And I'm going to tell you, I wish I had Bluetooth at home.
Oh yeah.
You get
It's
so
like-
used to it. It is absolutely freaking amazing. All the uses for it. Like when I'm at the shop and I'm hooking up something, doing domino connectors, and I'm
I was just
drilling
gonna
out.
say domino connectors,
It's unbelievable. And
cleaning up,
and it's okay. So
anything.
it's a couple paces away. Big deal. It makes you more efficient on and off right there.
Yeah. A
Okay,
couple
so
paces,
I
but
spoke
do
my
that
piece.
40
Next.
times a day. Do it.
Yes.
Bend down 40 times a day to turn your vac on.
Oh,
Then tell me.
I would just like to make it clear, guys, when you have a really long hose like I do,
bending over makes no sense.
that's a lot of extra steps to turn on that back.
This is like a really like. We just need like some like really slow music. This would be a good ad.
Boom, checka bow, pow, pow, checka bow.
Guys,
If you
you have a
find-
long hose like I do.
Yeah.
You're tired of
No.
bending down to turn on that vac? Let me tell you.
That's
I-
where
you
slap
Bluetooth
this
really
little-
comes into play.
I don't like
need
to
to send a
bend
message to
over
Festival.
with my long hose.
So, no, what I wanted to go back to what Brendan made a comment. Okay, so you have all these people who, there's just people out there that it doesn't matter, right? Like, oh, there's other companies that make tools, they're just as good, blah, 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 whatever. I was having a conversation with Sedge on the way back from Woodcraft. We went and visited Jess Crow. She was down there teaching a class. And we were driving from there back to Sedge's house. And I was explaining to Sedge that my sergeant major was upset because Ryobi just came out with a track saw. Yeah, Ryobi came out with a track saw, cordless track saw. And there was a joke about it that, you know, Milwaukee is supposed to release a track saw at some point. Everybody's all the, you know, people that are diehard Milwaukee fans have been waiting for it. And then they released a lawnmower, a battery powered lawnmower. And they're like, really? You're going to release a battery powered lawnmower, but not a track saw? And I'm like,
That's
okay,
hilarious.
understandable, right? Because Milwaukee has a very large line of tools and you'd think that
Yeah.
a track saw would be
So-
the
yeah.
obvious next choice.
Yeah.
So Sedge and I were talking about, you know, the differences in tools. And it's funny because I may have been talking to my sergeant major about this, but the person who's going to buy, there's always going to be people that are hanging out like, oh, there's this tool and there's that tool and it's going to do just as good. You're right. They are right. The person that is concerned, let's just say the Ryobi costs $350. The Festival costs $600. That's a big price difference, right? But there's a lot of differences that people don't take into consideration. They just look at the price. They don't look at the whole big picture. So the person who's like, oh, I don't want to spend that additional $250. Those people that are looking to buy their first track saw are going to be fine
Mhm.
with
Mm-hmm.
the less expensive track saw. So their opinions on that are correct, right? And for the most part, this tool is going to get me by. It's going to do everything I need it to do. You're right. It is, because you're not ever going to use the tool to its full capacity, right? You're not going to understand the differences between this brand and that brand because you're not there yet. So it was just an interesting conversation that we were having. And it's not until I feel like later on when you start, maybe you use some of those less expensive tools and then you get to use one of those other tools that you realize the difference, or you realize, or you can understand and appreciate the difference in something that's arguably very important, but most people don't care about or ever talk about. And that's a warranty, or just overall quality of the tool, quality of the parts that are being used in it,
System integration.
system integration, all
Or-
of these things. They don't know that yet.
How the
So-
company stands behind the tool even after the sale, no matter
Right.
10
what.
years. Yeah.
And I
No
don't,
matter what.
10
right.
years
I
of
don't,
support after it's been discontinued.
but I don't want,
Correct.
again, I don't want this to necessarily like turn into specifically Festool, but the argument of, I kind of see where they're coming from, because they don't have that requisite knowledge because they haven't used them,
Mhm.
right?
Ben,
It
what
is
you just
going to be fine with them.
Ben, what you just said, most people don't even have a clue what you just said about 10 years parts availability.
Like it sucks that the Vaxis got discontinued, but guess what? I know that if a part of mine breaks in the next 10 years, I'm okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Absolutely.
fine. And that's for every festool.
But what about 11 years, Ben? What about 11?
I would hope that Festool brings back the Vaxis by then.
Yeah.
But that's like Jason, you talked about warranty and stuff like that. As far as I know, there aren't any other tool companies that do a 3-year. There may be one or two, but I can't even think of them off the.
There's some 2, 3, 5 year.
One.
Yeah, there's other companies that do it.
But read the fine print.
Yeah.
Not to be used in professional hands. It's only for people at home use only. And we calculate the longevity or the depreciation of it. So you really don't. I mean, there's ones that have a lifetime warranty out there.
What about theft?
That doesn't happen with Festool in North America, but it happens everywhere else in the world.
Yeah.
In Europe, absolutely.
In Europe, yes. There are guys that they have lorries or they have sprinters, and that's what they work out of, just like people do here. But theft is a huge problem, especially in the UK.
Yeah.
Huge problem. They get theirs replaced. They get stolen. But like
crazy, huh?
It's and just like you're saying, Sedge, it's like it's the experience after you buy, right? The long-term care after you buy.
I'm not gonna. Please don't mention the brand because you might know it. But there's one out there that says lifetime warranty. Oh my God! Read the fine print on that.
Oh yeah,
one.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
I have, and it is not. But it's what people believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
it's like life insurance or car insurance or home insurance. It's like, yeah, you have it until you need it. And then they're like, well, what were you doing?
Yeah.
They're always going to find a way to get out of it.
Yeah.
Anyway, I just thought that was an interesting conversation because, everybody's at different levels with tool purchases and stuff. And
it's a valid statement, but it's also one thing to get on the internet and like chastise somebody over a video. Like especially like how can you legitimately like bash another tool brand like when it comes to like quality of use and stuff without ever having used it. Like I can sit here and talk about warranties and stuff like that because that has nothing to do with using the tool. Like I would love to try out the Ryobi track saw, not because I want to keep it or to like use it day to day, but if someone asks me my thoughts on it, I can tell them, hey, yeah, compared to this is what you're going to get.
I guarantee you 99.9% of all people who take the time to specifically spew hatred on something that they don't like, they've never touched or used.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So I had
Guaranteed.
some hatred. I had some hatreds or some funny comments at work this week. And one guy said, oh, that's a really bad design flaw. I don't think you should ever have that. And I said, oh, thanks for sharing. Right. And then he said, well, it's really a bad. He went on. And then he said, I ended up buying this, and this. So my comment should have been after that, but I left it on like, so I guess you never bought it. So, you're an expert on something
that you've
never owned.
Yeah.
It's just people want to spew hatreds. I don't know why. And I just want to make one comment and end it with this. I wish I could talk about the thousands and thousands and thousands of times I've been in conversations at work with colleagues and how we have taken the higher road on things, but you'll never hear those. And I will tell you, I am so freaking proud to work for Festool because of the integrity of every single person in that building. From the repair techs to logistics, when I say logistics, warehouse personnel, to our accounting, to trainers, to executives. And I'm going to tell you something. Sometimes I'm just appalled at how people reach out to us, but we always take the high road and we do the right thing. And that's why I continue to work for that company or Festool, because it is an amazing company to work for because of the people.
Yeah.
This was brought to you by Festool North America. But I'm going to tell you what, it's great to work for a company where the people we always do the right thing, or at least we try to in our eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all you can do.
And it kind of happens where we have a great brand loyalty, so, and I know I shouldn't be talking a lot about Festool, but I do, because it's in me, Ooh, that's a good shot there, Jace.
Sorry. That's what she said.
For audio listeners, Jason continues to point the camera down at his crotch.
Show us his
Don't worry
oak.
about it. Don't worry about it.
Well,
So
what,
Hans,
Sedge, if I think there's a very good reason why there's, out of the three, it's the predominant brand in all of our shops are Festool. If I ever felt like the brand didn't stand up to its claims or to its price point or to its quality, then I wouldn't have it. But I
only have it because I'm addicted to green.
But you know what? We always say this at Festool: we get the best customers in the industry. You guys stand right with us, and that's why we want to make sure we provide exceptional customer experiences with you guys, and we go overboard, and I'm glad we do.
Like when it comes to like track saws and all the tools that I have for the most part. Jason mentioned earlier that when people are looking at the Ryobis and the Milwaukees and stuff like that, that for them at that time that it's good enough in that moment. Jason talked about I don't know if it's like a table saw or something like that a couple episodes back, where he's like, yeah, this is it. This is all I'm ever going to need, until you start getting more experience in using it. And I can say that with Festool that I've not had the inkling to look at another sander. Like I've not had the urge to get a different track saw. I've not had the urge to get a different drill or like any of these things. Like people ask me tool questions often. And I'm like, well, I don't know, because I'm not researching tools. Like it is very rare that I ever feel like I need to get something else unless what I have just doesn't have that capability. So
there's also another situation with that, because once you start buying a high quality tool and and that tool company doesn't offer that, guess what? You go and start looking at other tools, and boy, you're buying a really expensive stuff. Jason, you're a good point with you. You just got a LaMelo, didn't you?
I did. I still haven't even taken it out of the box yet.
Oh,
you've had it for 3 months, haven't you?
That's a high quality. That's a high quality tool.
I've had it since January.
Oh my God, that's fun.
I swear to God, I have not even plugged it in yet.
There's so many people's heads that are exploding right now.
I know.
Well, you're about to move anyway, so you have a.
Yeah, it's going to be another 3 or 4 months before I touch it.
You got an excuse.
I hate to say this, but I don't know what happened. I hit a button or something, and my audio stopped for a second. So there's probably one part that I was talking about that didn't pop up, but it's going again. So
that's fine. What's
your audio time at right now?
1:43.
Mine's at 1:41.
That's fine. I'll fix it.
Yeah, well, we're fine. It's at the end. Okay, it's everybody. Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, gentlemen, I think that's going to be it for this episode. We're pretty deep into it.
Yeah.
Wow. Boy, that went by fast.
Yeah. Another long one too.
Just hey-o.
Patrons like it. Just
that's
like our patrons like it.
Hey-o.
Yeah, long ones.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for this episode, everyone. Jason, where can everyone find you?
BensWoodworking.com.
Sedge.
SedgeTool.com and Sedge Tool everywhere. And also at Festool Sedge, Festool Live, Festool Shop Talk. Woo! And greensuiterspodcast.com, baby.
That's right. You can find all of us at greensuiterspodcast.com. You can find me, Ben Marshall Designs, on Instagram and YouTube, and marshalldesignworks.com. Before you step away from your podcast distributor of choice, go check out episode 22 of the Green Suiters podcast called Going Cordless. People really like it. So if this is your first time listening to us, it's probably a good podcast to go check out next. Thank you for your time. Hope you have a good time in the shop this week. We'll see you in the next episode.
Bye.
See you later, alligator.